Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Thursday with a little bit of an update on Arsenal transfer target Andre Onana, the Ajax goalkeeper. Now I'm sure many of you are aware of this story. I've reported it in the past that Arsenal are interested in Onana, but he is banned at the moment because of a doping violation. That ban was handed out in February by UEFA, but Onana and his current club Ajax have been appealing that ban. That appeal was heard last week by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and we now have the verdict. And the verdict is that Onana's ban has been reduced from 12 months to 9 months. Now that is interesting in terms of what it's going to mean for Arsenal, what it's going to mean for Onana and for Ajax as well, and I'll run through all of that a little bit in this video. But I'll talk first of all about the hearing and what's been said today and why the ban has been announced. Now he was banned last February, Onana, by UEFA after testing positive for furosemide, I think, or furosemide. That's how it's pronounced. Sorry, I'm not exactly a chemist. Furosemide, which isn't it's not on the list of banned substances because it's a performance enhancer, but because it can flush things out of your system quicker. That's why it's one of the banned substances. Now he tested positive for that in an out of competition test. It was quite a way before the ban was actually announced in February. I think it was October the previous year he tested positive. Eventually he was banned in February for 12 months by UEFA, and since then he's not been able to play for Ajax. He's not even been able to train with Ajax. He's been training since then with a personal trainer on his own in local pitches around the Amsterdam area, not allowed anywhere near the Amsterdam squad or anything like that, the Ajax squad or anything like that. Now he's always maintained that he took this substance accidentally and it was prescribed for his wife because she was pregnant, and his wife accidentally put the pills in his sort of medicine box and he took it because he had a headache and it was thinking it was paracetamol. UEFA actually acknowledged in the original process that they didn't think he'd taken it to enhance his performance and that it was an error, but they said that he'd been naive and things like that, and that's why the ban was handed out as a deterrent. Now at last week's appeal, Onana spoke about this. He gave his reasonings for why it was taken. He talked about the effect that the ban has had on himself and his family. Ajax representative Stromley had the Ajax club doctor there, Edwin van der Sar. Their chief executive spoke on Onana's behalf as well. And now that positive verdict has come in for Onana. The Court of Arbitration for Sport was a three-person panel who heard the hearing last week, and they delivered their findings today. They said that UEFA's suspension was disproportionate and excessive. And they agreed that the whole thing had been a mistake and that Onana hadn't taken the substance to try and mask anything. Nothing else was found in his system or anything like that. So they have reduced that ban to 9 months. Now, what that means is that Onana will be able to play again from November the 3rd. Originally he was going to have to wait until next February, and he'll be able to train again with a team, whoever that may be, from September the 3rd, which obviously is only about a month into the new season. Now this is going to be a really interesting one for Arsenal because they are interested in Onana. They've been interested in him from before this ban even came into place. Last January, when they ended up signing Matt Ryan, they had been in talks about a potential deal for Onana, but it was just deemed too costly at that time. Arsenal had money issues, we know that. That's why they ended up getting Matt Ryan on loan until the end of the season. But they've always maintained that interest in Onana. They've been in contact with the representatives even during this ban. They've been trying to be kept aware of the situation, and now they're going to be left with quite a big decision to make. What do you do with this now? Do you buy him? And Ajax are willing to sell. He's out of contract next summer, so he'll be available on a free transfer. They are not going to be giving him a new contract. That's been decided now. Onana wants to leave. Ajax are, it's decided he will not be getting a new deal. So he will be available on a free transfer. Now, that means that Ajax are keen to get him out quickly as possible. A lot of that reason why they've pushed for this ban to be overturned or reduced significantly is to help them get a transfer done for Onana this summer. You're talking about a goalkeeper only a couple of years ago who was valued at sort of 20-30 million pounds when he helped Ajax to the Champions League semi-final. But now he could be available for a fraction at that price. Had this ban not been overturned, he could have been available potentially for about £2 million this summer. Ajax will look for a little bit more than that now, but you're looking at around sort of £7 million perhaps for a very, very good goalkeeper. Only 24, I think 24 or 25. I haven't checked before I started this video. I think he might have had a birthday recently. Cameroon international, not even at his prime yet, and you can potentially pick him up for around £7 million. That's the figure that Arsenal are potentially looking at when it comes to Onana. There will be other interested parties. This won't just be Arsenal, but Arsenal, are right at the front of the queue. This is something that's been talked about and discussed with representatives for a long time. They've been waiting for this result from this hearing before deciding what to do, and it's going to be interesting to see now what they do decide. Do you go for him and accept that he's not going to play for the first 3 months of the season? Or do you wait potentially till January when he can come straight back in, but then you sort of weigh that up? It means you won't be able to train with the squad until signing in January. Will he even play for Ajax once he's available again from November? Potentially not. So he wouldn't have had any game time before that. Personally, I think you just get this deal done now. You've got a very good goalkeeper, like I said, available for a fraction of what he's worth. Get him in and have him available from November onwards. Now, a lot of this obviously is going to depend on what Arsenal do. The goalkeeping situation is very, very complex at Arsenal now. You've got Bernd Leno, who is open to a move away. Arsenal would be open to letting Bernd Leno leave, but they've got to find a decent deal for Bernd Leno between now and the end of the transfer window. And it's complicated further by the fact that Bernd Leno is away with Germany at the moment and will be with them at the Euros, which isn't going to help when getting a deal done for him. Bernd Leno, I don't think he's causing a big fuss to get out of Arsenal by any means. He's settled in London. So it's going to be interesting to see what Arsenal do now. Onana wants to be first choice. I know he wants to be a first choice when he goes somewhere. He doesn't want to come to a club and be second choice. He believes he's a top level goalkeeper, and he is. He's proved that already with Ajax. Would he be willing to come in November, say if Leno stayed for another year, or come before that and then be able to play in November and be number 2? I'm not so sure, because I think there'll be plenty of other clubs who will be willing to sign him now, who would be willing to play him as number 1 straight away from November. Personally, I think, if you're open to getting a deal done for Leno and you can, and there are suitors out there, then you get him gone. You potentially bring Matt Ryan back in as number 2. You stick with Ryan for the first 3 months of the season. He's done nothing wrong when he played for Arsenal before, Matt Ryan. He looks like a decent Premier League goalkeeper. He's proved that before with Brighton as well. I think he's more than capable of playing as number 1 choice until November. And then Onana can take over from then. And I think you've also got the added bonus of the fact he can train from September, so he can adjust to his new surroundings, he can adjust to his teammates, you can ensure that he's bang up to speed for when he is available for selection in November as well. So I think this verdict is going to be a really, really interesting one to see what Arsenal do now. I mean, Edwin van der Sar has been speaking about it. He said, with this ruling by CAS, we have won 3 months in comparison to the initial suspension, so it was worth taking the case to CAS. We stand for a clean sport, but I will say again that we are convinced that Andre has taken this substance by accident and certainly not to perform better. This is endorsed by all parties, also by UEFA, as it's to be concluded from the cases both by the UEFA and CAS. When we told our story together with Andre and our lawyers, I drove off from the Ajax Academy after the hearing with a good feeling. I have mixed feelings now about today's verdict, because our aim was that he would be back playing games this summer. Now, I think that was pushing it a little bit. I think it would have been very, very difficult. Even Onana's people weren't expecting this ban to be completely overturned. They were hoping for a reduction, which is what they got. They were actually hoping for a reduction of slightly more than 3 months, potentially 4 months. Which would have helped things even more in terms of getting this transfer sorted before the end of the transfer window. But a very, very interesting situation now with Onana and with Arsenal, and it's one to keep an eye on. The whole goalkeeping situation at Arsenal is an interesting one. It's just another thing to add to Edu's already hugely bloated to-do list this summer. I think, sort of about 2-3 months ago, you'd have been looking at the goalkeeping situation at Arsenal and thinking it was probably very well down the list of priorities for Edu and Arsenal. But I think right now it could be moving slightly back up there with Leno's potential desire to move on and look for an opportunity elsewhere, and for this big opportunity now to pick up a very, very good goalkeeper who Arsenal are interested in for a fraction of his price. Now, we're expecting talks with Ajax to kick on now over the next few weeks. I imagine it won't just be Arsenal. There will be other clubs involved in this, but like I said, Arsenal are right at the top of the tree because they've done a lot of groundwork on this already to get to this point. So interesting one, and certainly one to keep an eye on. That's about it for today's video. Just a quick short update on Andre Onana. Please let me know what you think about the situation, as always, by leaving a comment below. Until next time, have a good day. I'll speak to you soon.